Well, a quietish day yesterday, given the amount of football there was, and an annoying cat just arrives. Let's have a look at the relationship between, well, 1.25. This is what we expect. Well, not 9 goals, but this is what we expect, a win 2-0 from Atletico Madrid, as we'll come to. Big shock that, not to see them break through in the second half. They did have a goal disallowed, Riquelme, but 2-0, 3-0 I thought would be a shoo-in if you looked at the first half stats and the pre-match 1.27 and the fact they beat Girona 3-0. So that was a huge surprise. First early season surprise of the season. That could scupper their chances as well. The English EFL Cup normally provides us with a trade or two, but it was far too many favourites scoring first. This is the one I was waiting for the second half. This I would have done a potential 2-0, 3-0. Absolute dominance from Wolves first half. Just waiting for half time, really. Arguably could have played in the first half with a 1-0, but thoroughly deserved from Wolves. And again, mugged late on, 38th minute, which was a pity. So that was a real standout. But elsewhere, didn't know what to do. Arguably, you could have laid a 3-3. The Desmond 3-3, so to say. And you could have got through with a very, very late goal to end that 3-3. Solid performance for Southampton. West Ham and Bournemouth was flirting with being a lay the draw. Both sides looked well up for this yesterday, but you've had to wait until the 88th minute for a Bowen winner. The stats flirted between both sides. There was attacking pressure from West Ham, then attacking pressure from Bournemouth, lighting up the stats. DBF Pokal was, again, are we in an alternate universe where an absolutely dominant Atletico Madrid fails to score and a 1.05 Leverkusen only wins 0-1? What's going on? Highly likely multiple changes in the usual 11, must be. Or they're just not up for the cup. I'll get rid of that. 1.06. You saw the usual strikers coming on a bit later. But he'll take the win. Xabi Alonso, although we would have normally expected that to produce 5 or 6 goals. So a strange day yesterday for a couple of usually ultra-reliable sides. I really can't make head or tail of this. It's an absolute mystery to me. This is what I saw in the first half, why I passed on my confidence to you. 13 goal attempts, 4 shots on, 6 off, 6 corners, one-way traffic. So that suggests win 2-0. Expected goal ratio in the first half, 1.53. Absolutely bizarre. Second half, 3 shots on, 5 off, 3 corners. Slightly getting into it, Espanyol, but either a very good defensive display or an absolute pig's ear from the manager yesterday. Already second half, making the changes. Alvarez, Lino and Molina out. Antoine Griezmann rested for the whole half. That could have spelt trouble as well. He played a first 11, including strikers from the start. I'm sure that would have produced a win. Compounded, as I say, by a previous superb performance. This what caught my eye. Girona, Champions League last season. This guy was rested for the first half, as was this guy. So that could have been the reason. So still, that's going to be on Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious Worlds, this one. 0-0. Arguably, he could have laid Real Sociedad late on, but I wasn't seeing it, and it was, again, compounded by the fact that Alavez's goal to make it an equaliser came from a penalty, not necessarily from open play. That's why I didn't lay straight away. Real Sociedad being red carded. This is a good scenario to have, but sometimes a 1.62 favourite scoring after a red as well can signal that they're just a little bit too good for the 10. But they made it work, Alaves. So a very quiet day yesterday considering the amount of fixtures there were. On to today, and it's all about second legs, first leg results. So we just look through 1-2 for RFS. Apoel, odds on favourite at home. Galatasaray didn't manage it. So keep an eye on the in-play stats. They were odds on at home, needed to score. Can Apoel do the same? Elfsborg and Mulder, 1-0 for the Elf from the start. So the market, 2.9 is giving Mulder a chance. Petra Club, well, Ludogorets 0-4. This looks done and dusted, doesn't it? They can afford a 0-3 loss, Ludogorets, and still go through. That's the danger we have with these second legs. They don't need to win, even though they're the better side. Ajax are playing the champions. Really came alive second half, Ajax against Jagiellonia. I think that's done and dusted, isn't it? Anderlecht and Dinamo Minsk. 1-0 for Anderlecht from the start. So Minsk will still feel they have something to give. Besiktas and Lugano, 3-3. This is all to play for. What happened with another similar match yesterday? The Midtjylland match was 1-1 in the first leg. 1-1 halfway through the second leg. So you could have arguably laid that second draw in the hope they get the 90-minute job done. So watch out for a potential score draw in this match to potentially take on. Steaua Bucharest and Las Linz, 1-1 result. Hearts and Poulsen, 0-1 to Poulsen. So Hearts are still in there. You just get the feeling that the Poulsen have a little bit more nous. But fair enough, they're at home. They're only a goal down. Hearts got a good opportunity there. Borac Banja Luka, 0-0 from the first leg, all to play for. So I would look to take on that 0-0 at some point. Shamrock Rovers were done and dusted first leg, 4-0 PAOK Thessaloniki. 1-2 to Braga from the first leg. So Rapid Vienna will still feel they in with a shout, as does the market, 2.6 the favourite. And we've got a 0-3 for Maccabi Tel Aviv. Should be done and dusted, that one. It's a similar story in the Conference League. We'll take a look through some of these. 0-2 for Brann, because this is a very long fixture list. Don't want to be looking at every single one. Servette and Chelsea, 0-2 lead for Chelsea. They took a while to get going in that first leg. Second half goals, and the in-play stats suggesting we weren't going to see them. Indeed, the first goal, a penalty. So this Servette might be more in it than you think. Could be an interesting one this evening there. Chelsea just have the class to get out of this, you'd think. But it was a laboured performance with home advantage. Copenhagen lost at the weekend, as did Kilmarnock, I think, with this match in mind. 0-2 to Copenhagen from the start. I don't think Kilmarnock have it, really, to take advantage. It would be nice to see, but you just don't think so. HJK Helsinki against Klaksvik. 2-2 from the first leg, so plenty to play for there. Noah, Park the Ark, been very, very solid defensively. Another clean sheet win. Could do the same again. Stick that Ark in front of goal, Noah, and they'll never get through. So some interesting matches this evening. Guimarães were very impressive in the first leg against Zrinjski with a 0-3. That should be match over. So we've got to pay attention to apparent matches over. Don't need to win. And the categories, yeah. So today, Real Madrid must take advantage of the unexpected draw 0-0 for Atletico Madrid last night. Buying all these star players and you can't beat Espanyol. That's awful. Real Madrid must compound their woes with a win. And they're highly likely to against Las Palmas. I would suggest Las Palmas will keep them very, very tight first half or thereabouts. Probable win to 0 for Real Madrid, all things being equal. You'd expect something like the Valladolid. That all came second half, so watch out I think it'd be a sticky first half. Could be a tight one. Yeah, but they are scoring and conceding Las Palmas, and certainly liable if leading. Girona, what do we make of that 3-0 Atletico Madrid win? Because it's not quite in keeping with how Girona played against the big guns last season. No excuses, no early red cards. Emphatic 3-0 win. Is this going to be one of those after the Lord Mayor shows seasons for Girona? We will see what their credentials look like. They are one of those sides who are going to get their star players nabbed by the likes of Manchester City, who's the parent club. So that's really it. Tonight, it's going to be a 3 o'clock start, just for the first match, but 5 o'clock for the others. And again, my hands are tied. In-play stats only. First leg results as well. Some of these matches, you might see the underdog leading, but then you note that the favourite is already 3 or 4-0 up. So it's very difficult to take on underdogs because they don't. The favourites don't need to worry about a 1-0. They do have to worry about a 2-0 or a 3-0. As you can see, that's about it tonight. So in-play stats. I'm going to have to get therapy about this Atletico Madrid 0-0. I don't know for the life of me what happened. I'm going to have to look at it again. Absolute shock. And this has probably killed off their season, I would suggest. 1.27. First half stats looking like a 1.27 shot. Really are. Wow. Killing it. 13 goal attempts. 1.53. That's why. At least with 2-0 and 3-0, you're not putting up too much liability. But again, it was far too late for me to monitor, I'm afraid, at 8 o'clock. It's 3 or 4 a.m. for me, and that's why I wane a little in the second half. A quiet day. Hopefully a bit more today with second legs and the in-play stats. I'll see you from 5 o'clock onwards. Don't forget, if you are interested in the tennis, just keep an eye on what happened yesterday. It is the US Open. Watch out for these 5-setters in the men's game. No problem here. Well, unbackable Alcaraz did drop the second set. And 1.22 Taro Paul, again going through eventually. 2 sets up. So you see that 2-0 to 2-1. That tends to happen in the men's game. Or 2-1 to 2-2. This was likely a 5-setter. You get the clue there. 1.8 and evens. Even Stevens. Grigor Dimitrov. This would have been a big money earner had you stuck with Lehecka. 2-0 down. Cue the comeback. Must win. You could check the ATP rankings as well to give you a little bit of confidence. First set, just a tiebreaker, so no major panic for Lehecka. But this suggested, I don't know what this suggested, maybe some trouble injury-wise for Lehecka, but that's when you get involved. 2-0. It's a best of 5 sets, don't forget. 1.22 favourite. Good rankings as well, playing 100 plus. So that would have made you some dosh yesterday. That's my simplistic way of trading, and it tends to work. I don't have to get bogged down with service stats, although you can look at those in play. Rublev again. You don't know what to make of this fiery Russian. 2 sets down. That's when you get involved. Obviously, this guy had the momentum. So we had a couple of those yesterday. Lehecka and Rublev would have been very good, profitable plays. 2-0 to a 3-2 win. It's like a football team being 2-0 down and then coming up to win 3-2. So some good plays there yesterday, potentially for the tennis. That's all I do. Just wait for odds-on favourites to cock it up and then get involved, particularly if they're 2 sets down, because you've got a really good entry point there. So that's it yesterday. Have a look at the results today, or sorry, not the results, the matches today. See if anything catches your eye. Hercats tends to be good at odds on. Yannick Sinner catches the eye. Thanasi Kokkinakis beating Stefanos Tsitsipas. So he might have a little bit of momentum. De Minaur, old Hitler haircut. So some good players today. Jack Draper might be made to work here. We've got South American on hard. But they find hard courts more to their liking. So looking forward to that. I'll see you at about 5 o'clock for the early kickoff, 3 o'clock for the early kickoff, then 5 o'clock for those two. It's a draw and a 6-0 Ammonia lead from the first leg. So highly unlikely we're going to get any action out of that one. Zero can win 5-1, 5-0 and still not go through. So I'll keep an eye. In-play stats today. We've got the first leg results to work off. And this will be interesting. You'll be expecting a Real Madrid win. Similar odds. But last time against Mallorca, similar odds. That ended 1-1. So are these sides sussing out the big boys? Espanyol keeping Atletico Madrid quiet. Mallorca keeping Real Madrid to a 1-1. Are they being found out defensively? We will find out. And we're going to see what kind of a mood Girona are in this season as well. Already a 3-0 loss against Atleti. Not being franked by yesterday's poor result. Have a great day. I'm off now to get some counselling because I'm still in a state of shock with that Atletico Madrid 0-0 against Espanyol. Have a great day. I'll see you throughout for those second legs in Europe.